Be discussing about attitude and social cognition. I have divided this chapter into two parts. Attitude is part A and social cognition is part B. So, firstly, this chapter comes under the part of social psychology, which is a branch of psychology which deals with social aspects of the life, social behaviors of the life, social environment of the life. Now, the first thing that comes to our mind is what is attitude and why are we studying this chapter attitude? Don't we know the attitude from the very little age? Though we know attitude from the very little age, but we know attitude in a layman's language, we don't know it in the proper way. So today we will be learning what is attitude in a proper way, in a scientific manner, the attitude in a psychological manner. Now, what is attitude? Look, if you have to study well, if you have to are keen in studying well in psychology, please do ask yourself questions, because without asking questions you will be not able to help yourself.
It's 12:30.
Not me who is going to help you, it's you yourself. I'm just a medium to help you. Now, what is attitude? Attitude is a simple state of mind, a set of views or thoughts regarding some topic. Attitude have an evaluation features too, that is positive, negative, or neutral. It is a part of social psychology that examines various of social behavior and tries to explain their basis. Because of social influence, people form views or attitude. Now, first thing, please write this pen down this attitude definition as I have written. As when you will write this definition, I'm sure that your examiner will not deduct your and even 0.25 marks in your examination, because it's appropriate definition. I've used few lines from NCRT and few I have created my own, so please, it's best I can give you. Now, attitude, we always have a preconceived notion towards someone we are meeting, or we have a very good vibe about someone we are about to meet. So what is that? That is all about the part of attitude. Now, attitude is a very comprehensive term. Firstly, attitude is amalgamation of lot of terms. The first two terms are impression formation and attribution. Now, impression formation is something when you meet someone or when you go somewhere, you have an impression of that thing, which is very natural, and don't be ashamed of that. I have a impression of someone, I have a bad impression of someone, I have a good impression. Impression is something again comprehensive, but in our course, impression from the shallow level. Impression formation, when you meet someone, I am taking the example of meeting. When you meet someone and you have an impression that, oh, he have a very good attitude, he is very good, he is very successful, or he is very not successful, or he is very good person, he is very not good person, that is all about your impression formation. Now, the reason you form an impression is because of the attribution. And what is attribution? Attribution is when you assign a reason to the impression formation. Like when you, if for example you will meet me, now you will say that I have a good sense of psychology, and if you say I have a good sense of psychology because of my upbringing, because of my background, because of my friend circle. Now, what so the first thing which you did was you informed an impression of me that I have a sense of psychology. No, the second thing that you did is you formed an attribution, that is you signed, you have a reason that why I am good in psychology, because of my society. So it's the third thing, which the final thing which you will be having, that is attitude. That person is good in psychology, that person is not good in psychology. So attitude is basically amalgamation of two terms, that is impression formation and attribution, and further few more terms are included into this. Okay, now moving forward, attitude consists of these three terms too. Now, if you see, I can explain by explanation. Attitude formation consists of main two things, that is impression formation and attribution. Okay, these three are also in part of forming an attitude. The first thing is opinion, the second thing is belief, and the third thing is values. You can take an example of an staircase. The first step is opinion, the second step is belief, and third step is values. So what is opinion, and or what are opinions? Look, it refers to the viewpoint of a person. The importance of these opinions is that they help in forming attitude. Opinions is a synonym of view. Okay, if I say that I have a view of that political party, or I have a view of this business empire, or I have a view of the lifestyle of the that place, or it's I have a thought, I like it's in my subconscious mind or in my conscious mind. I don't take that thing into very serious manner, but I have a viewpoint towards that thing. I'm like just thinking, I'm not in a very serious manner. I'm not making that thing into belief. Now that's where belief come into part. It refers to the cognitive or thought component of an attitude. Now belief is because of the things that you saw, that the things you see, okay, that you have saw, the things which you have seen recently, that makes you believe in the things. That's where belief comes in. Like the best example is belief in democracy. You see that in democracy every person has a right, every person have their voting right, every person have a right to speak, right of expression, freedom, and human rights, and all the human rights have been included in democracy, whereas in monarch some human rights are not included. So belief is always accompanied by thoughts, okay, or by the rational thoughts. And in values is combination of belief plus should or ought aspect. Now if you add morality into your belief, that is values. You can understand these three terms in the form of English language, in the form of English grammar too. In English grammar we had superlative degrees, like you can say opinion is good, belief is better, and values are best. Simple. Divided properties of attitude into two parts. First it is ABC component, and second it is VECC component. In ABC or component, A stands for effective aspect. In simple way, if you are adding emotions to someone's attitude, that is effective aspect. If in B, that is behavioral aspect. If you are adding if you are adding actions in someone's attitude, that is behavioral aspect, which means it is tendency to act in a particular manner towards a particular issue. Okay, now C, it is cognitive component. If you are adding rationality in someone's thinking, in someone's thinking attitude, or someone's doing attitude, it is cognitive component. And VECC, V stands for valence, C stands for extremeness, C stands for this simplicity or complexity, and sometimes I'm saying C is also referred as complexity is also referred as multiplicity, and C, that is centrality. Now valency, super easy. Valency means positive, neutral, or negative. Now valency indicates that the attitude of a person towards this attitude object is either positive or negative or neutral. Okay, now if I ask you, is driving fast good? If you are having a good feeling about that, you will say yes, I am thinking it's good. Then your attitude will be positive. If you will be saying no, I don't think it's good, then your attitude will be negative. And if you say no, I haven't tried that thing and I don't know much about that thing, then it would be simply neutral. Now Third, extremeness. How much is the thing? How much positive or how much negative? Like, if you question that by yourself, how, like, the degree of that thing, very much or very less. Okay, so if it's the same example, is driving fast good? If you say, I don't think that driving very fast, you see, very fast good. Driving, you have a very, or you are adding an adjective and all, that is extremeness. Now simplicity or the complexity, you are having two or three kind of attitudes formed towards an attitude object. Now attitude object is the topic about which we are having an attitude formation. Okay, now attitude object, I have told you. Now if I take the same example, that is driving fast, then you will say in simplicity the attitude might be, I like driving fast, but I think doing or driving fast there will be actually harmful for me. So what is this? This is simply simplicity or complexity kind of a thing. Centrality. Now centrality is something which is inborn in you, that you want, which you don't actually adapt. Okay, if a person doesn't like to drive fast, he will be basically friends with someone who doesn't like to fast either. So it's a simple thing. If a person doesn't like to smoke, he won't be having friends who are into this habit. So that's it in this slide. Further, like, what is attitude? That I have already told you in the previous video, in the previous part. Second, exposure to information. Third, through society and cultural norm. So attitude can be formed by any of these three mediums. Now first, in attitude formation, learning is divided into three parts. That is learning by association, learning by reward or punishment, learning by observation. Look, these are the things that we have studied in class 11th too, but these are the just revision of those things which is like important for us now. Learning by association, it is also called classical learning. Learning by reward or punishment, it is also called instrumental learning. Learning by observation, it is also called modeling. Please, I'm saying again this, please do write this table in your notebooks. By writing, you will get this concept more clear. Now, talking about learning by association, it is also called classical learning, a basic form of learning in which one stimulus, initially neutral, scores the capacity to evoke reaction through repeated pairs with others. Now learning, in this part of the learning, one have a feelings, or one initially don't have a feelings toward things, later on by the experience or by the time that person form an attitude towards that thing. So the attitude that is being formed over here is by time, by the good things for you are making of that thing or that. Okay, players often, if you please do read this example, and example is super clear. Players often develop a strong linking, sorry, it's a misprint, a miss, it's error. Players often develop a strong liking for a bat by which they made good runs. So it is very evident that by making good score, that you are having a good relationship with your bat. No, classic in this reward or punishment, it is called instrumental learning, a basic form of learning in which response that lead positive outcomes or that permit avoidance of negative outcomes are strong. Simple example is that if you're getting good marks, your parents will encourage you by giving you chocolates or anything you like. If you're getting bad marks, your parents will will be disappointed, will show you their disappointments in any form of the way they can. Some parents beat, some parents do that, they don't entertain their child for a week. So it's very something, and that's why it's called instrumental. It's that. Okay. Learning by observation. It is also called modeling, a basic form of learning in which an individual acquires a new form of behavior throughout observing at others. Now, if I tell you my example, I always like driving, so I haven't learned driving actually. I have always observed the driver which is in my house, or my dad or my mother. So the way they drive, I am just learned. I have just observed, and this observing attitude actually helped me to learn driving. Now I drive very well because of my observation and because of the guidance I have got. But the first thing that came into the play, that was observation. So observation actually help everyone and forming an attitude. Now, attitude formation, the other two components of attitude formation are learning, exposure to learning by exposure to information, learning through society and cultural norms. It's very simple. Let me clear. Learning through exposure to information, we have internet today, we have newspaper. If you're learning from them, you're learning from info. So through the exposure to information, learning through society and cultural norms, it is again very simple. If you are living in a Punjabi family, if you are living in a Sindhi family, if you are living in a Brahmin family, if you are living in a any kind of family, if you are living in a Islamic family, if you are preaching any kind of religion, Islam, Buddhism, Hinduism, or Sikhism, so some kind of you have an attitude towards something because of your upbringing. So because of your upbringing, you have an attitude. So that upbringing thing is because of that upbringing attitude is later on is called in this books is that attitude through society or cultural. It is basically during attitude which is formed during upbringing.